All right, folks, get ready for a deep dive. It's one that kind of hits close to home for me, honestly. The shutdown of Alliance tires. Alliance tires. Don't take a chance. Take Alliance. Right? That whole...
Yeah, I know exactly.
That slogan, it's iconic. And that's what we're talking about today. The end of the road for Israel's only tire manufacturer.
It really is a big loss. Not only for the, 550 employees at the Hadera factory, but, symbolically too. Alliance has been around for 74 years, really intertwined with Israel's whole industrial history, even kind of mirroring, in a way, the rise and fall of Israeli car manufacturing itself.
It's crazy, 74 years. And now, boom, end of 2024. Doors are closing. What happened? I mean, obviously industries evolve, right? But this feels like, I don't know, there's more to the story.
Yeah, well, Yokohama, Alliance's parent company since 2007, they cited a bunch of reasons. Rising production costs.
Here in Israel, yeah.
Yeah, here in Israel. Shipping expenses going through the roof. And then the whole global tire market has just become, incredibly competitive, let's just say.
It makes sense. It's funny, though. I remember as a kid, Alliance tires, they were everywhere. I mean, now, not so much. I guess those old ad campaigns only go so far.
Well, those campaigns were really powerful, though. You have to give them that. They really resonated with Israelis back in the 70s, the 80s. But to understand what led to this, we kind of got to rewind a bit. Go back to 1950.
Oh, okay.
When originally Alliance Tire and Rubber Factory was born.
Ooh, history lesson time. Lay it on me.
So picture this, right? Israel. Brand new country, everything's under construction. And Bono, which was like the major construction company at the time, they needed tires for all their trucks. So they teamed up with some American investors and bam, Alliance is born.
They're born out of necessity. Very Israeli. And didn't they, I vaguely remember this, they were on the New York Stock Exchange at some point.
Yeah, you've got a good memory. 1960, they went public, but their journey was full of twists and turns, acquired by Core Industries in the 70s. Then, Eliezer Fishman bought them in 92. Finally, Yokohama in 2007. It's
like a real roller coaster of ownership.
Absolutely.
But even specializing in those, big heavy-duty tires, mostly for, overseas markets. Even under Yokohama, it seems like Israeli production just couldn't cut it anymore.
Exactly. It's a complicated equation. Think about it. Israeli production costs plus those skyrocketing shipping expenses. It's a lot to swallow, especially when you're competing on that global scale. And speaking of global, the tire market, get this, was worth an insane $137 billion in 2023. That's according to Precedence Research.
Whoa. Okay, that's a lot of rubber hitting the road. So, Alliance was really playing in the big leagues. What does that kind of market size tell us about the pressures they were facing?
It is a cutthroat world, that's for sure. You've got those big tire production powerhouses, Turkey, China. They're dominating marketing and production, especially in the Middle East, Far East. And then you have other countries like, say, Indonesia ramping up their own tire manufacturing. And suddenly, producing in Israel doesn't look so cost-effective.
It's almost like the ground shifted beneath Alliance, literally.
Yeah.
And then on top of all that, you've got the whole technological side of things.
Right.
Electric vehicles and all that. That's got to be demanding completely different types of tires, too.
You were absolutely right. That is another massive factor. Electric vehicles need tires that are tougher, heavier to handle those batteries, quieter for a smooth ride.
It's true.
These are not your grandpa's tires, right?
No, they're not.
Traditional manufacturers like Alliance, they face this steep uphill battle to adapt.
It's crazy to think about how much the industry has changed.
Constant evolution.
Yeah.
And for Alliance, it seems like those changes, they came a little too fast, maybe a little too furious. Yeah. But there's so much more to unpack here. This story goes way beyond just tires.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. What else is there? What's lurking beneath the surface?
Well, let's shift gears a bit. Look at the broader implications.
Okay.
Alliance's closure, it raises some big questions about the future of manufacturing, in Israel. And honestly, in a lot of places facing these same kinds of pressures.
Okay. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. Let's explore that. Okay, so we're back and ready to, keep rolling along with this deep dive.
Right.
Before we went down that rabbit hole of awesome ad campaigns from back in the day, we were pondering this question. Could Alliance have actually been a part of this future we're talking about? If they'd embraced those changes, pivoted toward these futuristic tire technologies, Could they have survived?
It's the big what if, right? It really underlines this whole, tension between tradition and progress.
Yeah.
Alliance, they had a long and proud history, but sometimes in a rapidly evolving world, that history, can almost feel like a weight holding you back.
Almost like they were stuck spinning their wheels, right?
Exactly.
While the world's kind of speeding off in a different direction. Precisely.
And it's a bit of a cautionary tale, I think, for any company, in any industry, really. The need to adapt, to innovate, it's more crucial now than ever. You can't rest on your laurels.
Yeah.
No matter how iconic your brand might be.
That's some food for thought, for sure. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit here and talk about those 550 employees again. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture economics, but at the end of the day, we're talking about real people's lives.
Right.
What happens to them now? Yeah,
you're absolutely right. It's heartbreaking to think about the impact this has on those families.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, Yokohama, as a responsible company, they'll step up and offer support. Retraining programs, severance packages, help with finding new jobs, that sort of thing.
I really hope so. Because those workers deserve a chance to land on their feet.
Absolutely. And I think it's important not to forget the sort of the ripple effect, too.
Oh, yeah.
That this will have on the surrounding communities.
For sure.
Local businesses, suppliers, the whole ecosystem kind of takes a hit when a major employer shuts down.
It's a chain reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's kind of zoom out for a minute, big picture again.
Okay.
Think about Israel's place in this whole global manufacturing landscape. What does this whole story tell us about, the challenges industries face here?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it really highlights the need to kind of focus on areas where Israel can really excel. Those niche markets.
Right.
High-tech innovation, specialized products.
Yeah.
Competing on cost alone in this globalized world, that's a losing battle.
Especially with those costs going up.
Exactly, especially with the rising production costs, shipping expenses, all of that in Israel.
So maybe a shift away from like traditional manufacturing and toward, more specialized high-value industries is kind of the key.
It's definitely a path worth exploring. Israel's got, a strong reputation for technological innovation. They've got a highly skilled workforce. Those are the assets to leverage. You think about cybersecurity, medical devices, renewable energy technologies. These are areas where Israel could be a global leader.
It's about finding those like sweet spots, where Israeli ingenuity can really shine through.
Exactly. It's not about trying to be everything to everyone. It's about focusing on what you do best.
Right.
And carving out that unique space in the global market.
That's a smart strategy. Okay, well, before we dive too deep into policy and economics, maybe we should lighten things up a bit. Let's take that trip down memory lane, revisit those classic Alliance ad campaigns, the ones that made that slogan, "Don't take a chance, take Alliance." It was unforgettable.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Really iconic.
They were brilliant.
They were.
So simple, so catchy. And they tapped into this sense of national pride. Back in the 70s, 80s, Alliance was like a symbol of Israeli resilience, ingenuity, self-sufficiency. Like, we can build our own tires, and they're just as good, if not better, than anything from overseas.
Exactly.
That was the message. Loud and clear.
Oh, I can practically hear the jingle in my head right now.
I know, right?
They really struck a chord with the public, didn't they?
They did. And even though, Alliance tires may not be as common on Israeli roads these days, those ad campaigns, they really left their mark on the collective memory.
Yeah.
They represent, sort of a bygone era, a time of challenges and triumphs for Israeli industry.
It's crazy how something as, seemingly simple as a tire can become so intertwined with a nation's identity, its aspirations.
It speaks to the power of branding and marketing, doesn't it?
It does.
To connect with people on that emotional level. And in the case of Alliance, those campaigns, they really created this powerful bond between the brand and the Israeli people.
It's true. Well, as we wrap up this, deep dive into the story of Alliance tires, I'm left with a mix of emotions, nostalgia for those old ads, sadness for the workers losing their jobs, but also a sense of hope, that Israel can adapt and thrive in this ever-changing world.
Well said. And maybe, next time you see a tire, you'll pause for a moment and think about, that complex journey it took to get there. A journey that really reflects, I think, this, the interconnectedness of our world, that constant push and pull between tradition and progress.
That's true. Well, on that note, we're going to bring this deep dive to a close. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.